traveling around and wearing business clothes, and I'm more familiar with airports than I am with eddies and holes on the river right now. So when I say it's been a good year for me, I did 2 rivers this year. First, I started in the spring with the San Juan River, which I shared some of that experience with some of you a couple months ago. My family has redubbed that river the Stinkin' San Juan because it had about as much water going down it to float your kids' bath toys, let alone a 16-foot raft and a couple of kayaks. We spent most of the week pushing our boats through sandbars and trying to study the bubbles as they went down the river and figure out where the deepest part of the San Juan is. So let me tell you, if you guys are planning on doing the San Juan, check the flow levels. The water of reclamation does not care about us river rafters. They only care about how much water is being saved in the dam. In contrast, the Maine salmon, this is like the epitome of river rafting, especially family river rafting. If any of you have not done it, it is in the River of No Return wilderness area in central Idaho. It is fantastic. It is roadless wilderness. When you're floating down there, the only thing you see are other rafters, and it was fabulous. The difficult part about getting on the the salmon is that, like most rivers, we have to go through a lottery process in order to draw out a permit for it. My husband is an avid rafter, has been since he graduated from high school. For the last 15 years, he has been applying through the lottery process to draw out a permit because he really wants to get the family on the Maine salmon. He has had no luck. This last year, he decided to increase his odds, and without even telling me, he submitted an application with my name on it. Well, what do you know, in February, passing in the kitchen, he says to me, "Oh, Tracy, did I tell you you were awarded a permit on the Maine salmon?" No kidding, I'm the trip leader. The trip leaders have to go, otherwise you have to forfeit the whole trip. This is a dream come true for John, my husband, to take our family and then my other siblings and try to get them on the river. So we were elated and have been spending the last 5 months planning our river trip. The fun part of it is when you get someone who has never experienced a river trip to actually introduce them to this experience. Well, my brother lives in Illinois. I went to visit him last year and we went camping. They have a big RV. We went up to the Wisconsin Dells area in central Wisconsin to this place, it was called Gideac or something like that. So it is a bunch of trailers around this man-made pond that has all these inflatables in it. And because the water is held in a little pond, they have to do something to keep it sanitized, and they put some type of green chemical in it. Well, the green chemical is so obvious in here that it gives it like an emerald color. So we dubbed the lake Lake Shamrock. And I just laughed the whole week, the fact that I'm in this man-made lake with all these chemicals in it. This last spring, my younger son, Wesley, who's 10, says to me, Mom, when are we going to go back to that place in Wisconsin? You know, and I'm like, what place? You know, that lake that we were at last year with all those bouncy stuff on it? I'm like, you know, Wes, I'm not really sure when we're going to go back to that Shamrock. So my brother, who's never had this outdoor wilderness experience with his family, is flying out to join us. In contrast, my other brother, or my sister, and her family are guides on in the Tahoe region. They met whitewater rafting. My 19-year-old nephew spends his days guiding trips down whitewater. He's a Class 5 kayaker. He would like to do more. So I have these two families, one extremely familiar and one this is brand new to him. So it was really fun. The Salmon River is so pristine. If you ever get an opportunity and someone invites you, seize it, because it's fantastic. Very steep canyons going down to a river that just keeps growing with all of the inlet streams that come in. The water's running swiftly, unlike the stinking San Juan, and you can see all the rocks on the bottom of it. And then you go through periods of very gentle meandering river, and then you have drops through nice rapids. And it was pretty low water in August, so it made it really nice for us. One of the nice things about this past week was that there was no moon, and we had a huge high pressure system over Idaho, so it meant that it was fabulous nights under the stars. So when we told my brother from Illinois that we in fact weren't setting up tents, we throw our tarps down and everyone was asleep, and I was asleep under the stars. There's this long pause, and then they go away, and about a half hour later they come back into camp and say, we think we're going to try this, no tent thing, and sleep under stars with you guys. Okay, sounds good. So he tells me later, his daughter Chloe, who's 11, saying to him, Dad, what is that over there? There's something moving. He looks down and he says, that's Uncle Mike. Dad, there's something flying up above us. And it's a bat. And as the week progressed, they came to love sleeping under the stars. My brother, who has a little bit of insomnia, said, you know what? You don't sleep, you look up at the sky, you see all these shooting stars, the dazzling array of the Milky Way. He'd never had this. It has been so long since he's that far away from the city lights. That was fantastic. One of the funny things about being on the river is cooking. So in my relationship with my river rat husband, he is constantly thinking about the river. So we both share cooking responsibilities at home. I know if I've done something well for the evening meal when he says to me, Tracy, we could make this on the river. So he's constantly strategizing on how a meal will translate to the river. There's something in the male mind that correlates cooking and meat with an open fire. These two things go together. So when we planned half the menu, and my sister and her family did the other half. Everything that he plans requires an open fire. Well, imagine getting into camp, setting up camp, and then having to get a fire going until it burns down to nice hot coals before you can cook your meat on it. This process takes about 3 hours. You're starving. Sometimes we are eating with our headlamps on because he's got his flank steak over the open fire, which is great, but it's a little late to be eating. My sister, on the other hand, is a woman. In the brain of the woman, common sense is right next to her innate intelligence. So when she planned it was something that involved pasta, vegetables, and kielbasa, which is already pre-cooked meat. When it was her turn to cook, she had a meal out within 30 minutes. My husband is eating this, and going, did you see how fast Lisa put this meal out? This is amazing. Lisa, you were really fast. That was pretty cool. He did not correlate this saying of no open fire and raw meat. So I didn't want to hurt his fragile male ego, and I'm going to wait until the next river to maybe kind of talk about pre-cooked meat, no open fire to cook under. The best time was on the last night on the river. Oddly, my niece from Illinois has this fascination with Bigfoot. And I don't know if you guys know, if you're Bigfoot enthusiasts, Bigfoot lives in central Idaho. This is his ground, okay? Now, unlike me, I was terrified of Bigfoot. She's fascinated. So, her uncles pick up on this and they say, hey, Chloe, do you want to call Bigfoot? Yeah. Okay, well, they know the whole method and how you call Bigfoot. So my son, who's not a Bigfoot enthusiast, is just right along saying, I want to call Bigfoot. So they're all off on the other side of this big, huge beach that we're camping on, and they're making all these noise and doing the chimes with the sticks in order to call Bigfoot. Well, a little while later, my sister is escorting my 10-year-old over to me, and he's terrified. And he comes and sits on my lap, and I'm like, Wesley, what's up? And he said, Mom, I'm really scared. And I said, well, Wesley, what are you thinking? They're trying to call Bigfoot. That's kind of a scary thing. And he says to me, well, Mom, I knew they were going to call him, but I didn't think one was going to answer. So he had to climb into the tent that night that we had set up for some rain, in case of rain, in order to be shielded from Bigfoot. Because you know, Bigfoot, he can't get through a tent. The experience on the salmon was fantastic. The only thing I can say about my river experiences to make them better for the following years is to simply just add some more water. Thank you, and enjoy your dinner.